disqualify you. The so-called Ron Paul rule that people talked about, that Russ and I discussed a couple of weeks ago, talk about getting rid of that rule and some other rule changes that may be coming down the pipe. You know what? When you deal with party politics, the one thing you learn very quickly, whether it's on the local level or the national level, he or she who makes the rules the convention. So the Rules Committee meetings, I think people are going to be paying a closer attention to this time around than they have in past times around. The next consideration is obviously going to be who's picking their delegates. And, every state has different rules on that. There's another comment we had in the chat room as we had going here live. Kind of getting a little wonky in the chat tonight, which I like. I like the wonk. So, lots of permutations, lots of different things that can go here, that can go right for Donald Trump, that can go wrong for Donald Trump. That can go right for Ted Cruz, that can go wrong for Ted Cruz. I wonder if Marco Rubio is going to be sitting back and being a kingmaker. You haven't heard from Marco lately, have you guys and gals? There's a reason for that. It could be that the establishment is telling him to hold his tongue because he has a significant number of delegates. As we said, he's in third place right now. It could be that he is just still embittered from what happened to him, that he may not release his delegates in the first round and make him sweat it out for a battle that maybe he'll come through on. Nobody's mentioned Marco Rubio's name lately. They've mentioned Paul Ryan's name, and Ryan has said that he doesn't want it, he doesn't need it, he doesn't care for it. But also, you haven't heard Marco Rubio. Man's in third place. He beat Kasich in one primary after he suspended his campaign. And we're getting some comments in the chat about Rubio saying that he's explicitly telling his state committees around that he wants to hold on to his delegates. And that's very smart, because we don't know what's going to end up happening there. It could well be that Marco Rubio could be the kingmaker. He could have the ultimate plum here for the eventual nominee. Lots of permutations going on. And you can have every pundit, every prognosticator, every politico talking about this, but the bottom line is, nobody's going to know more than me. No, I'm just kidding. None of us know what's going to happen. This hasn't happened in about 40 years. This hasn't happened in my lifetime. I think the last time we had a contested convention on the Republican side was 1976. 2 years before, it's BG. It's before Gene. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about the road forward. The road forward gets mighty complicated from here on out. Of course, you have the People's Republic of New York. You have Pennsylvania and the Mid-Atlantic states coming up. But then after that, you go back to Indiana and Nebraska. All leading up to June 7th, and California. Of course, there's a whole lot of states in between there. But you talk to some of the best, political minds out there. Obviously, the conventional wisdom, see what I did there? Says that Trump will not be the nominee if he doesn't get to 1237. I want to know what you think about that out there. Let me know in the chat room, and let me know by going to www.behindenemylinesradio.us. Voice your opinion if you listen to this show either live or on replay. The other conventional wisdom is that Cruz needs to win on the first ballot as well. He needs those delegates that are already spoken for to be unbound and to woo them. Because after that first ballot, Cruz may be putting in the time and the work to get those delegates to go to him. But at the same time, you got to remember, folks, those delegates are loyal to their state committees. And the state committees are loyal to the RNC. The RNC is going to have more than its say if this goes past the first ballot. And you may see a name like a Marco Rubio. You may see a name like a Jeb Bush. You may see a name like a John Boehner, a Paul Ryan, a Mitt Romney. Who knows? It's wide open after that. You're going to need someone to step up and say, I want this, that's not only palatable to the RNC, but palatable to the grassroots. The one thing that we're seeing in this race, and we saw it with the exit polling that Fox News and CBS and, dare I say, MSDNC have come up with, showing that there is a strong and bitter divide amongst the electorate right now. if you're a Ted Cruz guy, you're with him, but you hate Donald Trump. If you're a Donald Trump guy, you're with him, but you hate Ted Cruz. There is a deep divide there. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper as this election season rolls on. And you see it in the way that people are interacting online. You see it in the way that people are interacting in person and on TV. You see the way the media is interacting with people and discussing politics. I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago, maybe even more than a month ago, at www.behindenemylines.radio.us, talking about how endorsements, and then my Brooklyn came out, the endorsements are killing conservatism. People have every right to choose who they want. Sean Hannity can go and tell me he likes Donald Trump. It ain't going to matter to me. But when Sean Hannity's behavior towards a former friend of his, like a Michelle Fields, is affected by his endorsement because now he's got skin in the game and he's got something on the line. That's what I mean by endorsements are killing conservatism. When you see well-known conservatives at the grassroots level, on the internet, social media, the so-called keyboard commandos, all in the bag for candidate A, they seem to lose credibility. And they also seem to change their demeanor towards conservatives that they were friends with a year ago, 6 months ago, and are no longer friends with anymore because they're not backing my horse. In a lot of ways, endorsements are killing conservatism. Because we all want to win, but we all want to win our way. This is the season to get in line, right? That's what a lot of people say out there. That you fall in love first, but then you get in line. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name who says that all the time, but he's in the chat right now. And it's a line that I kind of throw back at him every now and then, and we have some good fun with. But it's getting to the point where self-interest is running the conservative movement, at least on the internet. And it's getting bitter. It's getting really bitter out there. When it's bitter towards liberals, I'm okay with that. Yes, I'm biased. You're not going to be fair and balanced around here. When I see negativity and passion going against liberals, you know what? I'm with it. I'm good. I'm all right there. I'm okay with that. But when you see conservative on conservative crime, no, I can't go there, folks. There needs to be unity here. You got to remember who the enemy is. Just like in the Hunger Games, remember who the real enemy is. The enemy here is the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders' socialism. You got to remember that. So I dare say, speaking of, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, we might as well talk about what's going on there. Bernie Sanders has won his 6th primary out of the last 7. Let me say that again. Bernie Sanders has won his 6th primary out of the last 7. If this doesn't tell you anything, folks, it should tell you this. The Democratic Party has gone full-on socialist. They're there. Welcome to it. It's no longer just, liberal-leaning or, Rockefeller Republican or middle of the road, whatever you want to call them. Sorry, your base is now full-on socialist. You're there. You've finally gotten there. It's not a gradual thing anymore. Welcome to it. Between President Obama going to Cuba and dancing the tango in South America while Brussels burned, and Hillary Clinton lying upon lying upon lying while there's a federal investigation into her lying, and now Bernie Sanders is the other alternative. The guy who wants to take 90% of your stuff, who wants to tax us back into prosperity, who thinks that guys in South America who are considered strong men and totalitarian are pretty cool dudes. That's the alternative right now. Obviously, Bernie Sanders, to some Democrats, is not a socialist. He's change. Everybody loves the word change over on the liberal side. They love to say change. They change so much that they don't stick to anything. Ever. Ask Hillary. But what ends up happening is that Hillary Clinton has become so unpalatable to some. Her perception of being trustworthy has taken a huge hit. They're holding their nose and pulling the lever or filling the oval or punching the Chad for Sanders, mainly because, well, he hasn't lied to me yet. He is who he is, and that's all that he is. He's Popeye the candidate. But what you're getting with him is a package of taxing and spending, the likes of which we haven't seen since Barack Obama. I know, it's not that long ago. But that's what you're getting from Bernie Sanders. I get that millennials love it because millennials don't have to pay taxes just yet. They're still young enough to think that life is free and that free stuff is actually free stuff. And we're seeing all those people turning a negative eye to Clinton because they're not getting enough free stuff. Bernie Sanders has been winning in places predominantly a homogeneous society. I was, mostly a white states. Wisconsin, another lily white state that for the Democrats. Hillary's strength is in the minority vote. You'll see that in the People's Republic of New York, which is sure to be a pretty big win. But maybe people are saying right now that it's not going to be as big of a win as you think. But regardless of all this, if you listen to the pundits, the prognosticators, and the politicos out there, Bernie Sanders is winning all these states, but he has no shot at winning, period. Because the game is fixed on the Democratic side. The superdelegates play, and the superdelegates are going with Hillary. So keep going, Bernie, and do whatever you're doing. Keep raising money and frustrating people. Maybe you'll get some of those superdelegates to turn, but I doubt it. I think we all know Hillary's going to be the nominee, folks. The fix is in there. And Bernie is more of just an irritant right now, and a reminder to Hillary of the electability problem she has with her own party. And the interesting thing here is that you may see Hillary not pivot to the center like you would expect a presidential candidate to do when you hit the general election cycle. You may see her stay where she is, or maybe you can go a little further to the left to please her base, to grab those Bernie supporters, because she's going to need them in the Midwest. She can't rely on just, their urban areas on the East Coast and the West Coast and, other places. She's going to need those other people to help her out. But maybe not against Donald Trump, since the favorability standards show that Donald will never beat Hillary. And there's really not a lot of data out there on Cruz and Kasich versus Hillary, but you got to think they do better than the Donald. And that just adds to his worst week ever. But Hillary is the nominee. Don't fool yourself about it. Unless Bernie keeps winning. But I don't see it, folks. I'm predicting it right now. I'm going on record. Hillary's the nominee, and we're going to a convention on the Democrat side. And I will be logging on to goonrecord.com to plug that in as my prediction for this show. Goonrecord.com, what do you stand for? Let us all know. Log on to an account there. Share it on social media. The only thing is, once it's published, you can't delete it, and it's there for all time. We're at halftime right about now, folks, and I want to thank you for listening to Behind Enemy Lines. I'm Gene Bardelli. Russ is not here right now, and while I got you listening, check out www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you missed any part of this show, catch us on one of our rebroadcasts. Click on the network listings button on www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us, and you'll see all the rebroadcast outlets we have and the times and dates that we rebroadcast on WNJC 1360 AM, Philadelphia's Renaissance Station, ICRN, the Internet's conservative radio network, Red State Talk Radio, High Plains Talk Radio, and Sackheads Media, and K98Talk.com. But let's say you miss one of those rebroadcasts. You got a busy life, I can understand that. You can listen to this show and any show you want on demand via iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podbay, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, and Google Play Music. Folks, we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll be talking to Dan Gainor from Media Research Center and NewsBusters, going to a little different tack than what we've been talking about lately. We're going to be talking about some Hollywood news and what Hollywood and the devil have been doing lately. Apparently, there have been a lot of collaborative efforts there. And we're also going to be talking about your typical media bias and how Donald Trump has used the media to absolute perfection in this election cycle. Gene Bardelli, Behind Enemy Lines. We'll be right back right after these brief words.